This podcast contains swear words.
Hello and welcome to Talking Shit with Tara Cheyenne. Another episode for your hungry podcast ears. This podcast, what's it about, you ask? It's about making art. It's about making shit up. It's about creativity. It's about not giving up. I'm serious. I'm looking at you. I know sometimes it's hard. These days it's particularly hard, but I really believe we can't. It's important. And living well in the process and supporting each other. I am coming from the perspective of a performing artist, but the issues, the themes, the ideas discussed here, I believe, apply to all of us. Whether you consider yourself an artist or not, life is a creative act. And I will remind you, if you have a body, you're a dancer. And who am I, you ask? I'm your host, Tara Cheyenne Friedenberg, and I am a choreographer. Yeah, sometimes. I'm a performer. I'm a dancer because I have a body. I'm trained, though, as well. Just, I'm a writer. I'm an educator living on the unceded, stolen ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish nations on the west coast of Turtle Island. Alrighty, before we get rolling, I would just kindly remind you to like, 5 stars, review, heart, subscribe, or just tell your friends and, because we're in the digital world, so you got to click the buttons. Recommend this podcast to your buds. It really does make a difference, and all that clicking, liking, puts us a little higher on the, I'm looking for some art podcasts or something like that. So we'll pop up and get more listeners, which spreads the word. And that's what we're doing. And a reminder, if possible, to donate. Anything little, anything big makes a big difference to our little small arts organization. You can find the donate button in the show notes or go to taracheyenne.com, upper right-hand corner. Click it, take you right there. Super easy. We really appreciate every little bit. Every little bit helps. All right, let's dive into this week's interview with my friend, the Vanessa Kwan. Vanessa Kwan is an artist, producer, and curator with a focus on collaborative, site-specific, and cross-disciplinary practices. They are currently director and curator, gallery and exhibitions at Emily Carr University here on this stolen Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh territories. They have worked in artistic leadership roles since 2003, contributing to organizations such as the Grunt Gallery, the Vancouver Art Gallery, other sites for artists projects, Access Gallery, Powell Street Festival, and Out on Screen. And this isn't in Vanessa's bio, but Vanessa is a mover and a dance artist who works in projects kind of parallel and with a lot of dance artists in town, including my bud, Justine A. Chambers. I actually met Vanessa, or first saw Vanessa dancing. So that's a connection we have. And I do love Bust and Move with VK. Super fun. So without further ado, enjoy this interview with my friend, Vanessa Kwan. Vanessa Kwan, welcome to Talking Shit with Tara Cheyenne. I will not be talking in this radio voice the whole time. Mm-hmm. Very excited to have you. Mm-hmm. Okay, one of the reasons, there's many reasons I wanted to interview you. Not only because you're a badass in the gym.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you. Best compliment.
But you know how much I love the whole muscle building thing. It's
It's the greatest thing.
It is life-changing.
Everything about it.
Everything about it.
Gym has saved my life.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, you are a visual artist and a dancer.
Oh.
Well, aren't you? That's how I think of
We
you.
can talk about that. I mean, but yeah, yes.
But how do you see it? Like when you introduce yourself, Vanessa Kwan,
Yeah.
and they say, hey, what do you do? What do you say?
Right now, I generally say I'm oriented towards my work, so I'll just say I'm a producer and a curator. And if I'm required to say what I actually like my title, then I'm a director and curator.
Okay.
And that's what I do. But I don't, because I don't talk a lot about my artwork anymore, actually.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't talk about
your dancing?
my dance practice. No.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because like when we get a job, because that's like so all consuming?
Yeah, I mean, it's different with this job. For context, we're speaking in fall of 2024, and I currently work at Emily Carr University, and I work in galleries and exhibitions as the department. And yeah, basically it's this job. Like I used to work at Grunt Gallery, and I was a program director there, and before that I worked at the VAG, and I worked at other places as well. And I always used to really make a point of maintaining my art practice in a very particular way. And when I got this job, weirdly, I think it came at a time in my life where I was like, I think I'm actually ready to put my energy into this one thing. And I have kind of done that. Like I feel lucky enough that I still get to work on other projects when I'm invited to, but I haven't been initiating projects of my own. And so I kind of feel like right now I kind of identify more with like the work that I do as a director and a programmer and a producer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting because like art practice as air quotes art practice and then art practice as curation, facilitation, producing, containing or hosting other practices. Like, do you have anything to say about
the hosting and the
does that like
totally
resonate at all? Or
yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I was just having a conversation with another artist about like being a curator and an artist and being in a situation of trying to build an exhibition that she was also kind of curating, but was like it was of her own work. And it was like I feel like I'm most comfortable if I really looked at what the work is that I do and that I think I'm probably good at, it's producing.
Yeah.
And producing to me is about like creating the conditions and finding the supports that are required to contain or uphold this particular practice.
Right.
Whatever that practice is.
Yeah.
But like my best training for that came from being an artist. So, I mean, it's a bit of a false like line between artist, producer, curator, but like being responsive, being adaptive, leaning into another artist, like trying to figure out what they want or need, waiting and listening, pushing where you need to push. Like all of that are skills that I learned as an artist first. And I never went to curatorial school or whatever kind of school. I just went to art school.
Yeah.
And so to me, the skills are really fluid, but the titles we kind of end up choosing.
That's so interesting because, yeah, it's that fluidity of whether you're kind of navigating your own artistic impulses or navigating another's artistic impulses. There's that porousness.
Yeah.
And do you think that's, I mean, I think this is what you said, but correct me, that because you have that embodied art practice, you've experienced that, so then you're able to...
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think the skills that artists develop are the skills we need to be really strong producers.
Yeah.
And that's not across the board. Different things call for different skills and different expertise. But for me, and the way that I've navigated my work and the work that I get to do and the jobs that I have is like it comes from being an artist or amongst artists first.
Right.
And that's where I learned how to collaborate. That's how I learned like what I think is important and what I think like upholding an artist's voice is essentially what we do in the arts. And it's hard to actually articulate the level of skills that you might need to actually do it in a way that feels adaptive to that particular artist, right? So like you can go to curatorial school and there's no problem with curatorial school or art history. It's amazing. Like, in fact, they're more aware of particular things than I am. They're much more like, there's many people more knowledgeable than I, an infinite number. But like in terms of like wanting to be with an art practice or like wanting to really support an artist, I think those skills I've developed as an artist. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. Yeah, absolutely. It's quite beautiful to me too. I'm like thinking a lot about my role as educator as I get older and like that actually it's that facilitation, it's that ability to, and you said listen to, I feel like that's really potent.
Yeah. Yeah. Like for me, I've been thinking a lot about like what's different. I mean, I'm at an age where I'm like, okay, I should probably reflect on some things. Like, what am I good at? What do I want to do? Like,
Yes.
And I think like one thing I've noticed about the work that I like to do, or maybe just the way I'm instinctually interested in practices or in kind of like containers, is like there's the object and there's the person and there's the thing, of an exhibition. Like there's a book, there's a talk, there's an exhibition, there's an art object. Those are the things that we tend to kind of focus on. But actually the things that I'm most interested and equipped to like have an influence on is the relationships around the thing.
Right.
So like, I'm not sure if this is going to make sense, but like those are the things that get lit up for me. Like if I'm thinking about producing a particular thing, I'm thinking about the relational constraint or the relational infrastructures that are required to create the thing. I'm less thinking about the thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you say relational, can you talk a little bit more specifically about what are those for you?
I mean, I guess it's different for every particular production.
Okay.
Like we just did a show at the gallery where I work, and it's like a collective of artists. They curated their own show. I sort of produced it, and then I worked with an exhibition designer.
Okay.
But the artists they weren't from here. They were in Seoul. So like we had to do a kind of remote production. But for me, I was like, okay, well, I want to make sure that I can't imagine them making this work to be in this gallery if they don't know the context or the people working in the gallery.
Right.
And so it was really important for me that if we're going to do this together, you have to come here a few months early. You have to meet everybody who works here. You don't even have to tell me exactly what we're doing at that time, but I want you to meet all these people, know this context, have a physical relationship to this space and the city, even if it's only a week that you're here. But then from there, we can start the conversation. It just feels very hard to do unless you have this kind of like embodied understanding of like who's actually going to be making the decision about what materials we're ordering. Or when you ask for a thing that you know who the person is who's going to get you that thing.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like I just feel like we make a lot of decisions according to what I want or what I perceive that I need, which those perceptions are real. But also there's the other side of it is like there are humans who are going to be like making those things happen for you. And we run into the most problems when we disregard the humans.
Totally right.
And we misunderstand them, or we assume we're entitled to their labor when we're not, or whatever. Like there's all so many different ways that we can fuck things up. And I feel like at this point, I've been in a lot of situations where things do get kind of tense.
Yeah.
And I know exhibitions and performances and productions of every kind are fucking tense by the end. And I feel like my role is honestly to like minimize stress as much as you can so that when you get to production week, you can operate and hopefully you can treat each other with respect when you do get stressed because you've done that other work. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like that kind of thing. And so working with these three artists and then the team here at Libby and then the exhibition designer and just like trying to make sure all those relationships and conversations were healthy enough or as healthy as we could be as we move forward, like just anticipating what needs work here.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, probably my contribution to the show. I didn't curate it, but that was my role as a producer.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I totally relate to that. Like, I just think we don't, like, dominant culture-wise, value being in the room with people and being together, just like meeting each other as humans, like animals, and seeing space, like having our bodies in space. Like, it sounds kind of like abstract in a way when I'm like just saying it right now, but it's like, it's actually like so real.
Yeah.
And you behave in a different way, or like I have different expectations. I'm thinking about, I just did a show and my correspondence beforehand, I was like stressed out. Are they going to be able to hang my ladders or not? It sounds like, blah. But as soon as I got into the space and started communicating and joking around and like picking up sandbags.
Yeah.
It was all like, oh, groovy.
Yeah.
Like we're all in here. Yeah. Like we're going to like, hey, let's do a show.
Yeah.
And it all of a sudden becomes really fun, really doable, mutually beneficial in so many ways. And there's this great appreciation for one another.
Yeah. Like every room is different. Every container for your work is different. And I just have a deep appreciation for like walking in and whatever scale we're at, we will figure this out. But you have to rely on the people. Like it will not go well by my criteria of what going well means. It will not go well if you don't have an understanding of where the labor is coming from.
Right.
And like who's actually supporting this.
Yeah.
And it's just like a key thing that we very often forget about. And I now work in a big institution. I work at Emily Carr. I've never worked in a university before. So I'm also realizing that it's the same here. Like a lot of things get quite profoundly fucked up when people don't understand what they're asking for. And so there's just kind of like this sort of hierarchy, which we can't really avoid in our larger institutions. And I understand that. But there's a real like sort of division of like, well, I speak to these people and then you just enact this. And then there's this kind of like these striations of labor, which are just like, honestly, like you learn the most about a space when you move the chairs around, take out the garbage and clean it or whatever. And so the people that have the knowledge or like, do I have the knowledge? Do I have the embodied knowledge of picking up this sandbag and understand what it means for you when I ask you to do something?
Yeah.
It's like, that's kind of like elemental to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that I'm out cleaning the floors because that would be a false pretense on my part, but I do feel like engaging at all different levels of production means you understand what the room is.
Yeah, right?
Like in a more, I'd say, just a more human way.
Yeah. Do you feel like, because you're a dancer,
like you keep saying that, it's very funny.
Well, to me, you're a dancer. You know what's funny is before I even met you, I just saw you as a dancer.
When was that?
I don't even know. I can't
We've
even...
known each other for how long? Like, when did I first meet you?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I can't tell you when.
Okay.
I don't know if this is perimenopause or if it's just this, like, you could tell me 20 years, you could tell me 15, you could tell me 7.
Right.
And I would be like, could be.
Okay.
I feel like you've been in the world and I've seen you over there for a long time. And I've always been like, oh, yeah, they're an awesome dancer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's like the nicest thing anyone's ever said.
Oh,
love that.
I just feel like you're so like there's an embodied practice that you have. And there's something about, I guess it's maybe, I don't know if this is true. For me, it's true. It feels like a dancer thing. Well, we got to like go in the space. We got to sit on the floor.
Yeah.
We got to like sweep the floor. We got to talk to the people. We have to roll around.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you people roll around a lot.
There's a lot of floor. I know. I think it sometimes unnerves people how often I just...
A lot of sighing and rolling.
That's really what it is. Yeah. If only dance education involved more sighing and rolling on the floor.
Breaths. Yeah, that's why I can't fully embrace dancer because I'm like, I don't sigh like that. I can't. I would walk.
Well, it could be something to work on.
Yeah,
maybe
I'll take that.
Let's write that grant. Yeah, just like the feeling of bodies, I guess. The feeling of bodies and also like labor. I mean, of course, it's such an important thing. If we recognize that, it takes us out of this transactional place, which I feel so frustrated by, in terms of getting my work out there and dealing with all the things we have to deal with, that sometimes getting back to that human interaction and recognizing what goes into all these shows.
Totally. Like I've been thinking a lot about, because I work in a white cube, so it's very different. We're not built for performance, even though I really love performance. I try and work with it as much as possible. But I've been wondering and thinking as a kind of like question for myself, like, what do we learn? What does performance teach us? It's probably even written on a Post-it note somewhere in this office because I think about it.
Yeah.
And like, what does performance teach us? And I think it teaches us a lot about space. Like, where are we? How do you sustain a body in this space? How do I listen to that body? If that body needs to speak in this space, what supports do I need? How do we live with other bodies when they come in to view the work? Like, you have to contend with physicality in a way that is like at base level. If we were going to really talk about like, how do we accommodate different kinds of bodies in the world? Like, performance asks us to do that, I think, because it requires us to be in the same place at the same time.
Right.
And when you think about exhibitions, there's never that assumption. Just like I put the object or the thing whatever it is that we're presenting. We put it in the room and people come, and they might come one at a time and they may come 10 at a time, but rarely do they come 100 at a time.
Right.
Sometimes at the opening, but that's the only moment.
Right.
And so, but with performance, it's like you actually do have to contend with this physicality. And like, how do all those bodies relate to the body on stage? When do the bodies get offended? When are they uncomfortable? When are they enjoying themselves? Like, it's just such a it's a whole set of like considerations that I'm really curious about. And like, if we were to really look at what it's teaching us, like, how are we, I don't know, I'm curious.
Yeah. That's a course. That sounds like a course.
Yeah,
That sounds like a good course. It's like a great web of like all these intersections of bodies in space and time, and what happens when things shift. Like you say, when we're offended, when we laugh. That's kind of what I'm, getting into right now, is just, the comedic charge.
Yeah.
Because it changes physicality. All these things change how we are in our bodies. And we can't not be then changed collectively.
Yeah.
In those performance spaces.
And like, is the room too warm?
Yeah.
Is it like, who can fit in here? Are these seats comfortable?
Right.
I mean, all the questions we have around accessibility, equity, diversity, like, which, I've come to sort of like really get frustrated with the kind of like way that we talk about these things. But ultimately it just means like, how are you with other bodies?
Yeah.
Like, how are you with it?
Right.
And it turns out we haven't been that great about it.
No.
So performance gives us a very active moment to actually like think about that. And currently for me, it's a proposition. I think there's a lot of information there.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to think about that. Is there a project that you are working on or going to work on or have been working on that is like really giving you a lot of pleasure, inspiration?
Well, there's a couple things. I mean, I work with Justine Chambers a little bit, and she's been really like super generous with me and has invited me to be in her work before, which has been really life-changing for me, so that my sense of embodiment changed because I got to work in Justine's piece during the pandemic. And she invited me into kind of some of the collaboration around one of her recent pieces, The Brutal Joy, which was super, just a pleasure. And through her and through other folks in town at Theater Replacement and the Western Front, I met Autumn Knight, who's now here as a artist in residence. And so working with those folks, like, there's nothing formed at this time, but I'm really excited just to be around Autumn, for instance, and Justine, and just to think through the ideas that they're working on. Like, I wouldn't say I'm like, it's not like my work, but I'm kind of loving the conversations around the work. And that's really exciting to me. And it's all about performance. Like, it's about like, how do you put publication alongside performance? How do you incorporate a performance practice into a gallery space? Like, what does an installation look like that's based on performance? Like, all those things, which are like super interesting to me.
Yeah. There's something really potent and expansive about conversation, about valuing conversation, however big or small it is, as a practice, as a creative practice, as a jumping off point, or I don't know, like the little sparks, or almost like fractal. Yeah. I love fractals. I get crazy when I think of fractals.
Yeah.
Ooh, fractals. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like all the things we get to do. We make plans and then we think a thing's going to happen. And I've discovered that the mistake is getting too ahead of yourself and thinking the thing's going to be the thing. Because as soon as you get to step one, it just actually changes.
Totally true.
So it's like you kind of got to lay it out and then let something else happen, and lay it out and let something else happen. And it's like, whenever I'm like stressing, or, you know what, something I don't expect is going to happen from this. And that's actually can be really positive and really horrible. Yes. But like, either way, it's going to happen. And generally, good things do happen. Like, if you bring artists in, honestly, you just got to get them to the place where they're really going, and they're going to be great. That's why we do this work.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not even sure if this is actually answering your question, but like, those conversations or those ways that we like, that's the work, that fractal around it, or like allowing the piece is not one thing. The relationship is not one thing.
Yeah.
The future is not one thing. It's like this potentiality of like all these possible things. So like, Yeah, I had a thought about how this show was going to go, and it splintered out into 1,000 different possible mirrored pieces that were actually way more lovely than I could have imagined.
Right?
Yeah.
I totally have that experience. Like, how do I express that to a younger artist that I'm trying to
Yeah.
help? I think the last show I made, no way I could have
Yeah.
guessed what it was going to become.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is a hard thing because there's like a way that we invite young artists to imagine, well, what do you want and where do you want to be and all these things? But it's like, it's going to be that and 1,000 other things.
Yeah.
And actually, we don't know anything. And I wish I could tell you, but I can't. It's like, yeah, anything could happen.
Yeah.
And that's actually the loveliest thing.
Yeah. It's like, I remember being really scared by that. And now I feel like, I feel like it's really comforting.
It kind of is at this point. I'm almost there. I still get racked with anxiety.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Like I'm speaking now as if it's a calm process. Like, oh yeah, it's just splintered into 1,000 gorgeous mirrored pieces that are more beautiful than I could have imagined. That's my retrospective thought. During it, I was like, fucking, there's so stressed. Stressed, but it's both.
It's just everything at once.
It is. Yeah, totally.
It's that holding of, which I feel like I have to learn every single day, the holding of all the conflicting energies and ideas and realities and difference at the same time.
Yeah, totally. That's a wonderful skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, life skills.
Oh, life skills.
Middle-aged life skills.
Oh, okay. Vanessa.
Yes.
What are some life skills that you have gained either recently or have gained appreciation for the life skill that you have now that is maybe new or just like, oh, I'm so glad I blah, blah, blah?
Oh, God. I think we're talking about them.
Yeah.
I do think around the unknowns, if you can get to the point where something unexpected is going to happen, and actually that's amazing.
Right.
The thing that I cannot even imagine is going to happen. And it is by turns terrifying and actually full of wonder. That's great.
It is.
And if I'm at my most calm, then that thought is a really comforting one. It's actually. And this is the other thing that is great to talk about with younger artists is what you're going to, you have it.
Yeah.
You have the thing that you need to do. You know how to do it.
Yeah.
You have your practice, you have your instinct, you have your humanity.
Yeah.
You will know what decision you need to make. Because shit comes up and then you just have to respond.
It's so true, hey?
Yeah.
Which kind of circles us back to in terms of producing responsiveness and which too is improvisation.
Yeah, set the terms, set a really good score, do the fucking work, and then let it ride.
Right.
And then respond. Don't skimp on the planning.
Aha.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Plan, and then assume the plan will ship.
I feel like that's gold. And I feel like I've been reading or trying to read about improvisation.
Oh, yeah.
And I haven't found very many sources that are very good.
I'm a very bad improviser. Very bad.
Are you?
Very bad.
What kind of improvisation?
If you were to put me on a stage and improvise your movement or improvise comedy or whatever.
Yeah.
Terrible. Horrible. I would feel existential terror.
Okay, this is a challenge. I feel like if you ever wanted to, we could create a score, a container. We could plan something that would make you feel secure.
Yeah.
And then just feel the pleasure of it.
That's why I think I liked working with Justine, because she was like, here's the score. You only move this much in it, and in that you can do it. If I know the walls, then I'm fine.
Yeah.
But the full, free, open field of improvisation, terrifying.
Well, it is terrifying. And I think it's terrifying partly because it's too much.
Who can do that?
I don't think that anybody can do that successfully because it's too much. And even the word improvisation, we're scoring things. We're it's with kids. It's here are your boundaries.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want in here.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But if you can say you can do whatever you want, full stop.
Horrible.
Horrible.
Therapy.
Yeah, no, get on the phone
Yeah.
with your right now.
Yeah.
That was a little bit my first semester of grad school because it was like, do whatever you want. Think outside the box.
Everything's possible.
Everything's possible. Do something you'd never do before. It's like paralyzed. Like,
Horror.
terrible.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah,
This is a horror show.
Yeah, did not help me at all.
No.
No.
I'm good with constraints.
I love them.
They're very important to me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I really have no idea what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I go into paralysis.
Yeah.
If I have a day off, it's not good.
Terrible.
No.
Vacations are just awful.
No.
I mean, I children, vacations are awful. Never take them.
Never take that.
No, I love them. I love time off. I can have fun. But no, I don't.
For the record,
No.
Vanessa Kwan can have fun.
I mean, within constraints. But yeah, no, I find an open field to be, yeah,
I agree.
difficult.
What is something you do, speaking of like vacations or that idea, what is something that gives you the nourishment to do what you do and like have that incredible generosity that you have? And
Oh, I like, well, okay. What do I like to do? This is a terrifying question.
sorry.
No. It's good. It's good. You're just getting like at the heart of my like anxiety. I mean, downtime is great. Rest time is great. Whatever rest looks like. It's hard for me to rest. I'm a worky guy and I like to work and I like to be busy and I like to feel like I'm doing something and I like to be in service of something. So for me, I love to have gently programmed downtime. So if we're going somewhere, I'd like to like take in some stuff or know that I have something every day that I need to do. And then the rest of the day I can relax. But my little like golden retriever mind needs one thing to focus on.
Oh, I so relate. This is good.
Yeah.
Gently programmed.
Gently programmed.
I'm going to take that. I feel like that is important because it's either I'm like 100% just like, and then I'm like, and then sleep. Sleep.
Yeah.
But I know that I need, but gently programmed.
Gently programmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like lately people are like, oh, how are you? And I just say, oh, I'm in my work era. Like I'm just oriented towards work. It's not as if I don't have time off or weekends or whatever I do, but my energy is really oriented towards work. Like I think about work a lot.
Yeah.
That's where I'm getting a lot of my like creative energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's where I'm getting a lot of my like social time. And I'm just in a bit of a work era.
Yeah.
And I realized I was like, it's okay. I don't really have to feel bad about it. I used to feel bad about like, well, I don't have a great hobby or like I don't.
Yeah.
But actually, I don't know. I love this work. Some of it's shit, but so much of it's really good.
Yeah, right?
This is work. We're sitting in my office. This is work.
It's fantastic.
This is part of my work, and that's amazing. And I met with an artist this morning. That was amazing. Like, I get to talk to other people doing research around art. Like, what's not to like?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so people are like, oh, what are you really into? And I'm like, working.
Working's good.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a content person, but I need to feel engaged. Like, contentment is not a thing for me, but engagement.
Suspicious of content.
I'm not content. I'm really not. I am engaged.
Yeah.
I'm not content.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Well, we always need to be pushing up against something or like shifting, moving the needle.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does contentment mean?
I mean, I hope I get there. It'd be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I think it's really good.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
Do you have moments of contentment?
Usually if I've finished something that was quite
Oh, yeah.
stressful.
Yeah.
Like the gym.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
Tell me
you
about
get, you get your PR, you
Oh, I
know?
love it.
Get your gains,
Yeah. Totally.
get your reps in,
Yeah.
have a nice snack,
Oh,
protein shake,
love it.
done. Content.
There's something about the gym. Now, dear listeners, I know I talk about this a lot, but I'm sure you can maybe identify something in your life. Hopefully, maybe you have a more balanced life than I do. But the finishing the workout, oh yeah, look at that squat, and then the
Jack
walk.
my squat.
walk from the door of the gym to the car,
Best.
to the protein bar. Like, this is great.
Yeah, I'm going to spend $12 on this protein shake right now, and I don't feel bad at all.
This is perfect. By the time I get home, which is 6 minutes from the gym that we both go to,
Yeah.
the anxiety is
Back.
I'm back.
Yeah.
But what a 6 minutes.
Oh, glorious. Content. Absolute contentment.
Oh,
I'm going to have a snack. I might watch some Netflix.
Oh, yeah, because you work out in the evening.
I work in the evening. You're a morning guy. So actually, morning is probably great because it sets you up for your whole day.
Oh, yeah. I really like that. However, it's like you get that endorphin and you're like, woof, yeah, boom, boom. And then you're boom into the day. And like, there is
your day shits on your endorphins.
That's true. It can happen.
It does happen.
It can happen. And not everyone wants to know that I have recently accomplished a pull-up.
Hey!
Thank you.
Come on now. Major milestone.
I think so.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to hear about it.
I want to hear about it.
Shockingly.
I want to hear about it. I want to hear about it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I kind of asked you this already, but what is something you're like doing or watching or eating or that's like giving you some sparkle?
Giving me some sparkle.
Or a book or anything?
I'm watching a ridiculous cooking show on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Culinary Class Wars Korean like
fun.
Korean game, basically like reality show with all
Okay.
these different chefs. And it's just terrible. I'm really into it because I was watching Physical 100. Did you watch Physical 100?
I didn't know.
Oh my God. If you like the gym, you should watch Physical 100.
Okay.
Because it's basically these feats of like physical dexterity and strength.
Oh, wow.
There's like 100 contestants from all these different disciplines. And they're all like, who is the most amazing physique or whatever. And then they have all these tests. And some other these like epic group tests. Anyways, so I was really into Physical 100.
Okay.
And then that led me to like this new culinary sort of Physical 100 style reality show. So I've been watching that.
Okay, good.
And that's been just providing a really nice coda to my day.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. That's not.
But we need these things. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, I wish I had something like really smart and wonderful to tell you, Fishy Joy. But nope.
We watch America's Funniest Home Videos.
Ooh.
It's ludicrous. Stupid.
Is that still a show?
Well, I think of the reruns.
Oh, okay.
But it's like dogs jumping into snowbanks and
Some funny
people
shit.
falling.
That's funny.
It's funny.
That's comedy.
It's funny. Yeah. I like really high and really low comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a balance there. Before we sign off, is there something I should have asked you, but I didn't?
I don't think so. I appreciate our conversation. Yeah, I think there's more to say. Like, I think I'd like to chat more about stuff.
Yeah, I would love that.
Lots to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, I am just really interested in, like, all the things we don't know how to say or articulate, but are so present all the time.
Right.
And a lot of that is what we might call labor, or a lot of it is, like, relationship or caring for either of those things. And that stuff is like really fascinating to me. Like, because the time has come to be able to articulate what those things are, you know? Because I think we need to effectively diagnose why so many things can't go right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and that's what maybe performance gives us, maybe.
Yeah. I recently was introduced to the term extralingual.
Oh.
And I had read like prelingual or like something that is not of words.
Yeah.
But I need to dig into it a little bit more. But extralingual, that seems expansive to me. And the things that we don't know how to say, but are actually like in the field of body, of energy, of relationship, labor. I'm reading a book about emotional labor and it's called Emotional Labor. Oh, it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating.
Yeah. And I think the best of us, like if we're saying like artists or performance artists or whatever, often performance artists are able to identify things that are not articulatable and respond to them in a room. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things, that's one of the ingredients to the kind of work that I'm really interested in.
Yeah. Oh, we're definitely going to have to talk again.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Thank you so much. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much, VK, for sitting down with me. I have so much more to talk to you about. I look forward to the next interview. And thank you so much for listening. And if you want to get in touch, we are on the old Instagram, at Terra Cheyenne TCP, Facebook, Terra Cheyenne Performance, email, love an email, info@terracheyenne.com. Talking Shit with Terra Cheyenne is a project of Terra Cheyenne Performance. We are a small arts organization, and all of us arts organizations and artists really do appreciate any donations, any support, even just like telling your friends to come. You know whose show you should see, or just go to a show. It really does make a difference. And I think we have to just keep kind of amplifying each other and the importance of making art, making shit up. Art is an advertisement for what matters in life. Talking Shit with Terra Cheyenne is produced, edited, and original music by Mark Stewart. You can reach him at markstewartmusic.com. And I shall leave you with a quotation that I have left you with before, but I don't know, I really like this one. It's James Clear, and he says, "The more you create, the more powerful you become. The more you consume, the more powerful others become." Take that, capitalism. Stay well, support each other. We'll see you next time.
This podcast is effing good.
Okay, Vanessa.
Yes.
Vanessa. Vanessa.
Oh, God.
Vanessa.
Like,
Vanessa.
you're just getting like at the heart of my like anxiety.
Vanessa.
Terrible.
Vanessa.
Horrible.
Vanessa.
Existential terror.
Vanessa.
This is a terrifying question.
Vanessa.
Therapy.
Vanessa.
Within constraints.
Vanessa.
That's great.
Vanessa.
Oh, glorious. Content. Absolute contentment. Oh, I don't feel bad at all.
This is perfect.